Hello and welcome to the Blockleaders podcast with me, Gillian Gosler. And today I have a fascinating project. I'm going to talk about, it's all about health, longevity, epigenetics, DNA, all these buzzwords at the moment, and how basically to live a better life. And I'm joined today by the CEO and co-founder Nathan Berkely, and also the MD of Web3, Sam Thompson. So Sam and Nathan, thank you very much for coming on the Blockleaders podcast today.
Okay.
So I've thrown a whole bunch of words out there. So sort of like dog whistles. Oh, we've got epigenetics, we've got DNA. Let's go back to basics. So Muhdo is your project that you founded, Nathan. It came from a health background. Tell me about the genesis of the project before we get into the tech.
Yeah, sure. No problems at all. So yeah, back in March 2017, we were looking at how you kind of truly hyper-personalize health to someone, and the content around health, and started looking in the world of genetics, and met up with some of the other co-founders of Muhdo who are doing DNA within the sports world. So we were very much born out of the elite athletes. How do we improve human performance? How do we get that extra couple of percent? And it was clear quite quickly that because of the background in the world of elite sports, if you can't measure it and you can't see it, how do I know I'm improving it? And DNA is great. It's kind of what we're born with. It's the reason we perform well. It's the reason on this call we all look different. But people didn't realize or don't realize it also means that internally we're all different, and the way we react to our environment, to what we eat, how we deal with stress, how we process food, that all has a massive impact, and that's to do with our genetics. So it was a really interesting project when we were thinking, my parents were ill at the time. I was thinking, I don't want to follow that pathway that they are following. How do we kind of divert or help steer clear of some of those obstacles in life to do with aging as we're living longer? And that's when we started the business back in March 2017. And it's really kind of evolved over that period, where originally we were just going to be doing DNA, but we realized very quickly, if you can't measure it, how do you know it's improving, which is what I said earlier. So this is where epigenetics is brilliant. So epigenetics is all about, if you imagine your DNA is fixed, and that's the cards we were dealt, that's what we were born with. But epigenetics is how the methyl status of those genes react to our environment, what we eat, what we do, and they can be turned on and off, and that can bring on poor health, bad health, good health. Good human sports performance, bad performance, why we're happy, sad, is all to do with our genes and how they methylate. And then if you look at certain genes, it's all to do with the aging process. So as we age, why do things happen within the body? And that's where we're looking to see if we can, through actionable interventions, try and slow down that aging process, try and control those genes so they're working in the correct way. And that's the epigenetics part. That's the real difference. Whereas your DNA is fixed, epigenetics all about the moving obstacle in life, all the things that are thrown at us. How does that affect the way those genes methylate?
So that's quite revolutionary, because people think that DNA, you say it's fixed, you have your DNA, that's it. But epigenetics is the science of looking at how you can make your DNA react differently. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, I mean, the best way I always say to visualize it is imagine that, your DNA is this fixed thing, and the epigenetics is the bit that is like a valve that sits on top, and it opens and it closes. So we pour in good food, we pour in, a good environment, low pollution, then that feeds into our genes, and then the valve then that comes out is our genes are turned on and doing the things that they should do, the way they methylate. So they're making sure the body reacts correctly. Unfortunately, we live in a stressful world when we start to pour in those things that are negative, that can affect our mental health, can affect our immune system. That means you can then turn it the other way. So you're kind of turning on the bad things from your genes. So your gene's fixed, but it methylates. So it's all to do with how things are poured into that fixed DNA. And that's the really interesting part with epigenetics, because it's something that moves. So we can constantly measure it, we can constantly monitor it, and we can constantly look at interventions to see if it changes the outcome to make us basically healthier.
Okay. So it's all about measuring, identifying, looking at the DNA, measuring it, and then doing stuff to maybe bring the good stuff in. That's the technical term, bring in the good stuff. So you set up a platform. So you're using tech to help the measuring and the monitoring, I suspect. Tell me how that works.
Yeah, so it boils down to something that's really simple. You're sent a diagnostic test. It's really simple, and everybody's now used to saliva because of COVID. Everyone really impacts. So you purely get one of our kits. You collect the saliva in the collection tube. You download the app and scan this code. This anomalizes your data, so you're protected, and then you send that off to the lab. The lab then processes that that material, that body tissue, and from that your genetic output comes back. We run that over our bioinformatics and science platform, and then that pushes the results in a really easy format to you, where we look at 18,000 genes from a genotyping perspective, and then we look at 9,000 methylation. And that generates over 300 reports for the end individual, showing you interventions and interactions you can do to basically adopt your lifestyle and change things that can hopefully make you healthier.
Okay, and it's down to the individual then to adopt those changes, because if I get all these details and I still drink lots of red wine and I do drugs and I party and I get no sleep and I don't really exercise, doesn't matter if I have the information unless I act upon it.
Exactly, but the beauty of epigenetics is it's a regular test, whereas you would really only ever do the first DNA test once, because that's your foundations. The epigenetics is why everything changes over time. So at least you could see the impact of that, and you never know, maybe it doesn't have an impact on you. So it'd be quite interesting to see. So you could actually over time see the impact. And this isn't about doing something every single day and it's going to have an impact. This is about just changing certain habits. So it's about taking your time, changing lifestyles, eating correctly, exercising, that we all know, but that means different things to all of us. So it's about, what's your passion point? Where do you want to go with your health? I think the big problem in society at the moment is we all imagine that fitness means wearing lycra, big muscles in a gym, but for some people it's mindfulness, for other people it's just walking. It's about you. This is the beauty of genetics. It's your genes. It's the reason you're different. So this hyper personalizes what that output is and what you need to do, because there's three of us on this call and we could all go out drinking, and that will have a completely different effect on all three of us, depending on how our genetics and, more importantly, our epigenetics reacts to that.
Okay, tell me a bit about the biological clock. What is that? How's it different from our biological body? And
yeah, so I guess if you look at it from a perspective of your chronological age, we all know that's the day we're born, and that's how we age. That's when we get those great things once a year for our birthday. But your biological age is looking more at how quickly is my body aging internally? Is my certain outputs of my body, is my memory aging quicker than my actual birth age? Is my eyesight decreasing quicker than it should for my age? What's happening at a cellular level within my body? So biological age is about what's coming down the road and how can I push that out. So you have your biological age, where we look at your biological age, so we give you an age versus your chronological age. We then look at your eyesight, memory, inflammation, which is really, really important, in hearing, kind of those markers
can you do
associated.
all that from the saliva?
That's correct, yeah. So all of that
Whoa.
from the saliva, yeah, which is amazing. And what that does is give you kind of a barometer of, okay, maybe I'm aging quicker. What do I now need to do to slow that down? Age of onset clocks, which we've got coming on early part of next year, is more about when we look at those markers around aging, we all want to know, how do I slow those down? We will be able to sort of highlight those ones and go, okay, how do I now push that out further? What we're not trying to do as a business, it's not about living forever. I know some people have kind of that in their kind of company mission, but for us, it's about livability. Why in my 60s and 70s can I not be as active and as healthy as I was in my 40s and 50s? And that's what it's about for us. It's about quality of life, being happy, being healthier.
So tell me, how currently is the Muhdo available to people to use it? Is it on platforms? Is it on
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. We are fundamentally, we do a lot of B2B work, so direct to businesses. So over 350 hospitals and clinics and research institutions around the world currently use our product, and a very small part of the business has been consumer, to understand the customer journey. But that's kind of one of the things around Web3, which we're coming to a moment, which kind of explains that in a bit more finer detail. But yeah, it is available. Anybody can purchase a test either through one of our partners or from our website. But it's more at this stage, the business growth, it has been really through our partners who see the real benefits of doing this kind of test to improve people's health and
So it's
well-being.
like if you've got corporates, and it's the ultimate well-being for your employees, helping them be
Yeah,
better
exactly.
people,
Yeah.
better
So we
versions of themselves.
100%. So we're part of quite a few corporate wellbeing packages. Mercer Marsh Benefits use our product and go out into the market to tell corporates why this can help improve the health of their workforce, because we have a social responsibility these days to not take the best years of someone's life in the workplace. We need to make sure they're happy and healthy when they go home.
That's
And
a
more,
line. That
yeah,
is a line, isn't it? Because we're so used to giving our all to the workplace.
Yeah, I think it's important, and loads of companies are now looking at that whole area of, we need to give back. We need to not take the best years of someone's life, especially as we live older. We want to retire, and when we get to that stage, have a big part of our active life ahead of us. And
Mm.
even Medicash have used our product as well on some of their plans, offering people in the corporate wellbeing space who are interested in looking at their health.
So can you tell me, before I get on to Sam, sorry, we're ignoring you, Sam, at the moment, I'm going to talk to you in a
No,
minute.
no, I'm really enjoying this.
It's fascinating. Just tell me, are there any projects or research that you're doing that's sort of interesting? My people might go, oh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's a great question. We've done quite a few. I think the most current one we're currently dealing with is a project called Predictum, which is an EU product, EU project, apologies, that's looking at Alzheimer's. Lots of multinational companies are involved, and Muhdo is involved in that. And we're working with King's College London, Stavanger University out of Norway, and Exeter University, where we're looking at those markers to do with the aging process and the onset of things like Alzheimer's and dementias and cognitive function. So our test is being used to look at that and study that along with.
Huge.
So yeah, it's really exciting. The first part of that is obviously is predictum, and then the second part of that, once all that study is completed, will be preventum, which is how do we then make interventions and stop that. And then another study which kind of is really interesting that we've just done is one that we did around looking at polyphenols. So this is looking at something that we can get in food, and how does that affect the cognitive decline and slow it down. And we recently published a paper around that polyphenols using our methyl pace clock. So this is looking at one of our clocks that's published that's called methyl pace to show what effect it had on that aging clock.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Those are things, because most of us kind of realize we have a responsibility for our health in terms of doing exercise and eating healthy, whatever. But there are other things that we don't know. And if we can be helped, we would grab it for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So Sam, you're MD of Web3. So how does that? So we have the technology, we have the platform, we have the app. So we're all very Web2. What's happening in
Yeah.
Web3, and why is Web3 coming involved?
Well, as you've heard from Nathan, what Muhdo have done over the last 8 years is amazing. And, I work with a lot of people that are super experienced in Web3, and everybody's looking at how can you bring real world opportunities into the space. Healthcare is something that no one's really managed to crack in any big way. So when the opportunity came along to work with Muhdo, for us, it was a no-brainer. Being able to merge epigenetics with AI and blockchain to offer our users transparent, personalized health products is super exciting, but then being able to track and optimize those products, I think, is what sets it apart from other products we've seen in Web3 and even Web2, to be honest. There's nothing in the Web2 space that's really got the kind of value proposition to the customer that we're creating now. The Web3 platform we've created with Muhdo is called the Muhdo Hub. So it's going to be a completely different application, with lots of new features and lots of new technologies being added into that. And that will be built on our own chain, the Muhdo chain, which is a very simple EVM layer one blockchain that is exclusively for real world healthcare products and applications that want to leverage our epigenetics and AI technology and get involved in the personalized healthcare. So we're not trying to be the next Solana or the next Polygon and be a general chain. We're focusing on a niche where we can add the most amount of value. And to create a safe and transparent ecosystem where healthcare providers can share customers, share data, collaborate in research and product development, open up new revenue streams by cross-selling each other's products, and ultimately, by doing that and creating this ecosystem, offer as much value back to the customers as possible. Why do this in Web3? Again, with blockchain, we can offer supply chain provenance with the products that we're going to be offering. So we're going to be manufacturing our own products from, so this is really important because, as Nathan said, there's a lot of people out there making claims. People need to know what's in these products, why it's in there, and where it's come from. Blockchain makes that really easy in a trustless environment. The blockchain also allows us to ensure data ownership and access is in the hands of users, which is something we obviously believe in. And Muhdo have never sort of sold anyone's data or ever in their journey. So something that they believed in, we were really aligned in that philosophy, but also empowering them to have full control over their personal health information whilst maintaining that privacy and security. And then also being able to receive tangible benefits if their data is used for product development or research. The blockchain makes that super easy to do. Furthermore, we are going to be working with lots of different businesses, as I said, sharing customers, sharing products. So it facilitates referral and reward payments, and much easier and in a much more transparent manner than anything available in Web2. Our aim is to incentivize businesses and healthcare providers to come into our ecosystem, but also consumers, and allow for seamless, secure transactions, but also make sure everybody benefiting from the value that they bring into the platform.
So are you going to reward your customers for sharing their information anonymized?
Yeah, I mean, look, the data play, everybody talks about data. It's something that's very complicated and it takes a long time to do. What we do is we use that information to create hyper-personalized products. So there's an immediate benefit and reward by being able to buy, probably the best products on the market at this stage. But when those products are used for product development, through our DAO infrastructure, there will be a reward mechanism in there where everybody that's contributed to that will receive a benefit from those products for however long they're part of the ecosystem.
Are you going to use a token, your own native token, or how will you, is that going to be part of the ecosystem?
Yeah. So, I mean, we look, there's plenty of reasons why we're doing this and having a token. We are a layer 1, so the DNA token being the native token. People can use that for paying gas when they're interacting with the dApps. Businesses can use the token to access our technology. Node operators and validators will receive payment in our token. And as you said, I've just asked, the rewards and referrals will be paid out in that token as well.
Will people need to be Web3 sophisticated to use the hub?
No, I mean, that's the most important thing. What we're trying to do is transition people from Web2 to Web3. So the back end being on the blockchain and being Web3 won't affect that customer journey on the front end. The applications that we're going to build are going to be really simple, really easy to use. You can, open a wallet with a Google email. You don't have to be an expert. To the older generation that are, aren't that comfortable even using mobile phones, it's going to feel like a Tesco reward. Everybody knows Tesco club cards and club, the reward systems and things like that. So the aim is to really use the blockchain on the back end and make that customer experience really seamless. And we're going to be bringing AI into the picture. So, that's something that, the AI will be explaining these really complicated health tests and guiding the user on that journey as well, educating them, but also giving them a point of reference to ask questions. If there's things that they don't understand, when people get sick, Gillian, everybody goes straight to Google. No matter what it is, the first thing you do is you go to Google. Yeah, rather than Dr. Google, you'll have your own AI health coach. And as you go on this journey with us and do repeat testing, it's going to be learning about you. It's going to be tracking you. It's going to be tracking your your lifestyle, your diet, your nutrition, all of these different things. So actually, if you do ever get into a position where you have health issues, not only will our platform help you identify them early, but also if you do need to see a doctor, they're going to have this wealth of information about your lifestyle and your epigenetics in a very easy application for them to to be able to access that information. The AI will give you those actions, track your progress, and we're going to be doing the hyper-personalized products. So we're always going to be, the more tests that you do, we're going to be able to optimize those recommendations, optimize those formulations, which is a huge benefit to the user. But it's also, as I was saying, it's going to be increasing the value of that data when it comes to further product development and research in the future.
How will you make sure that the data is kept secure and confidential and not leaked?
Well, at the moment, as it sits today, we haven't built, obviously, we're in the process. This is a new project, the Web3 side of it. As it sits today, the data is stored off chain. It has to be right now, has to be HIPAA compliant, GDPR compliant, sits across 4 different servers. So it's super safe at the moment. We're still going to keep that data off chain and use the chain as access and audit and permissions. But there are technologies being developed that are trying to address those issues. But at the moment, we're going to keep it very compliant. And as technology evolves, the more we can bring on chain, the better. But the only way that we can see that we can stay that side of the regulations is by keeping that data off chain. You know, there are obviously some cool protocols that will provide easier access to that data. But yeah, at the moment, we keep it off chain, split across 4 different AWS servers.
Okay. And so going forward, so tell me a bit about the roadmap with the hub. So it's in progress at the moment. It's in development, or is it ready to be released?
Yeah, so the first announcement we made about this Web3 project was actually, hey guys, we're doing a Web3 project, testnet's live, which, you know, Gillian, we were at token 2049. When I'm telling people this, they're like, what? Most people don't get to testnet for months after they've done a raise, got a token out there, and they thought that was a strange approach. For us, it's the foundation of the ecosystem. It's not the focus of what we're trying to do. We've already got a fantastic application, the Muhdo Hub, which is this hyper-personalized wellness ecosystem with all these amazing products that will be built on that chain, ready to go, and that will start generating revenue straight away. But we have 6 other applications already lined up that are going to have the potential to be mass market opportunity. So when we say it's a big niche that we're focusing on, and that's why we don't want to get involved in meme coins and all these other protocols and projects that most chains are, you know, focusing on to get that transaction. We want to focus on real world projects or products that will bring those revenues into the ecosystem. And yeah, we've got a mother care app, we've got a brain gaming app, which is proven by science to improve cognitive function. We've got a medical cannabis group that we've been working with that want us to build a clinical platform, because epigenetics, if you look at any of the papers being published at the universities, and I can share some of them with you, it is the future, and it really helps to explain why certain people react differently to certain formulations and products. We've also got a physical testing device company, which is one of the biggest in Europe, who are switching over to Bluetooth and want to build an application on the chain as well. So again, bringing all of these different data sets onto the platform in an ecosystem is super exciting. And yeah, we're actually integrating into a platform with 10 million users already, and that's something that's going to bring a lot of traffic.
The existing platform.
No,
or is
that's
it
a
different?
platform. Yeah, no, we're integrating into that platform as a reward token, and having the opportunity to sell our products as well. So yeah, no, it's really exciting on the roadmap. Mainnet will go live when we launch the first application. So we're looking at start of Q1.
Okay.
Ready to go.
Excellent. So back to you, Nathan. So when did you discover Web3 and like, have you always been into Web3, or is this like, oh my God, this is amazing, we should be doing this? And you're on your mic is off at the moment.
Sorry, I knew there was background noise here. So yeah, no, look, you know, it's fairly new to me. I think that the issue we've always had as a business is, how do you have transparency? You know, we have all the consent forms for someone to give us our data, but ultimately we're still just it's your data, we're just the custodians, and we have to make sure we handle that correctly. So that's really where we started looking at the whole Web3 and how do you show proof of provenance, proof of ownership. Admittedly, look, some people don't mind, they don't care, but I think, you know, we have to be very careful with the kind of data we collect, and we have to make sure that everybody's happy to share that. It's not just about us as a business giving you health advice, maybe making you healthier, but it's also making sure that we protect your data, and you make sure that it's used for the reasons you want to. Firstly, making it healthier, but you may be happy for it to be used for other things. And I think that's the important part here. And that's where Web3 can be a really nice stepping stone. It's still early days in the world of Web3. But I think it's really exciting with where this project can go with Web3, and the Web3 team and some of the projects they're working on are so exciting and revolutionary. We're really excited to be kind of going this pathway now.
Okay, so Muhdo, spelled Muhdo. Where can people find you? Is it Muhdo.com?
Yeah, Muhdo actually stands for Measuring and Understanding Health Data Optimization. We always get asked that question. But yeah, you can go on Muhdo.com and see the current product.
And consumers as well as companies can approach you.
Correct.
Retail.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent.
Sorry to jump in there.
Yeah,
the
please.
Muhdo Hub will have a completely different website and a different platform, and what Muhdo does from the kind of existing product line will stay the same, and, you know, be focused on that. all the new kind of consumer products and services will be available through the Muhdo hub when that goes live, in line with the launch of our application. So when we launch the application, everything's going to go up at the same time. And I don't know why my battery has just said it's on low, so I'm going to try and plug it in quickly. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. That's really cool. Okay, it's very interesting. I just love the whole approach. It means responsibility is still with the individual, which makes sense because you can't. It's very handy to have a magic wand. Someone waves it over you, and you go, "Oh, look, you're fit." People still need to put in the effort. But it's also knowing it. And actually, you made a very good point. You were kind of half joking about if the three of us hit the town, we might react differently to whatever alcohol. I mean, just as one example. So it is interesting to know that there's things you can do as an individual. It's personal responsibility. This is helping you figuring out how your body, how your genes react to things, and how you can do it better. And that's very interesting. And the other thing too, I think is fascinating is like we kind of now know to, move more, eat better, blah blah blah. So we kind of in healthy terms. But things like Alzheimer's and cognitive, decline, that's not really. I know we all say we must do, crossword puzzles or whatever, go singing and stuff, which are kind of, it's kind of nice to be able to measure stuff and figure out, well, maybe there's something that we're missing. And I think that is fascinating. And I look forward to hearing more about those studies that you're doing and how we can improve. You're right, because we have to live well. It's living long, but living well is more important.
Exactly.
Just
Brilliant.
on that, you mentioned about doing crosswords and things like that almost as a joke, but there's actual science proven that certain games and certain things that you can do really do help improve your cognitive function. So one of the applications that will be built on that chain is a range of those games. And we tested in our community on Telegram, we tested a brain game. And it's just a concentration and focus game to kind of start building up that community engagement and get people having fun in there. And they've spent a total of 48 hours playing. There's about 1,200 individual players, and the person who won the prize, his winning game, he was sat on that game for 6 hours and 20 minutes. So when you look at the gaming industry, how big it is, there's over 2 billion registered gamers. What we're trying to do is, okay, look at all these different niches. How can we add value and improve people's health, but still relate to that customer? So this application, I think, is going to be a huge success because they can play the games they love to play, but it's actually going to be helping them improve their cognitive function. And then with the track it as well,
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, core part of Web3 is gamification. So you're
Right.
looking at that point and seeing what makes people. It's like I was interviewing somebody recently about a pay to walk program to be very, very successful. And they were saying it's not enough to say that there's a Siberian tiger behind you. You got to run faster. Sometimes you need to run towards things. And they use the example of an orgasm that would make you, go for your walk. So so it's not just, oh, I'm terrified of the tiger. Oh, something nice is coming up here, so I might go that way. So it's that gamification does make sense because people are weird and wonderful and crazy and lovely, and we don't do things for, we need little dopamine hits and stuff like that, which makes sense. So really cool. Okay, thank you so much.
For sure.
Yeah, no, amazing. We'll be following your progress. Thank you indeed. And I'm looking forward to doing my own testing.
Working with you guys and Secret as well. We had a great time meeting you in Token 2049, and I think that the partnership that we've just done with Secret is going to be super beneficial. There's so many data breaches and privacy concerns, and you see it with 23andMe all over the news at the moment. The whole board quitting. It's balancing confidentiality with openness is more critical than ever. And we operate in one of the strictest industries, and we've got to comply with those strict regulations, and working with you guys to leverage the Secret network infrastructure and implement a confidential token bridge for our native gas token on the Secret network is really cool, because it's going to allow our users to opt in to receive rewards using a secret wallet address, but giving them that privacy for their public wallet address. I think personally what you guys are doing is amazing, and decentralized confidential computing is definitely not a niche technology. We see it as the next logical step in the evolution of blockchain, and super excited to be working with you, Gillian. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's really cool. Thank you for your time today, gentlemen.
Pleasure.
Okay. Cheers, Gillian.